There's so much anger in the world now that if we can give that outlet to release that anger, that sadness, and bring more laughter. It was needed before pandemic. It's needed more than ever now.
So then laughter can really help us heal in
Yeah.
many ways.
Yes.
Heal and work with whatever is here.
If we understand the process of chronic stress, we can deconstruct one smile at a time. Like the moment you're smiling, you're actually changing the chemistry. Laughter yoga is the rambunctious child in yoga, but
But it really draws us in. Like when you hear somebody laughing, you're like, oh, what's going on there?
once you have laughter yoga in your life, you're not waiting for anything funny to happen. You can choose to laugh.
I wonder if we can share with the listeners some laughter exercises that can be done as we hear us.
Sure can.
I just want to quickly thank you for beginning to watch this podcast episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. Would love it if you join our community. You'll also be up to date on the latest content, and this really helps me reach out to more guests. You can also visit our website, centerformindfulness.ca. There's free events about mindfulness and laughter. Hope you enjoy this episode.
I am so excited to share today's conversation with Sylvie Dagenais-Douville, who's the founder of the Laughing Institute. She's a published author, speaker, and dedicated laughter yoga master trainer. She's on a mission to enrich lives with laughter, one smile, one breath at a time. How beautiful is that? We'll be talking about laughter, happiness, joy, well-being. So if you're ready to boost your well-being with some smiles, join us in this episode. So a warm welcome to you, Sylvie. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Kazim, for having me. I feel it's a very privilege for me to be chatting with you this afternoon.
Thank you so much. It truly is a treat. I was full of smiles thinking about our conversation. And I know before even we started the recording, we were laughing. So it's already been fun. I wonder if we can start with what led you to laughter and your interest in laughter. What was your journey that led you to it?
I always say that there's a short version and there's a longer version, and I'll take you to the longer version today.
Sounds good.
My son. Well, I guess I would say that I was born. I would say born to laugh. But as an adult, sometimes life makes us very serious. And at some point, I have two kids, and my son was looking for a subject for a personal project to do in high school. He was in grade 10 then. And so we're flipping through magazines and seeing what kind of subjects he could pick, and then saw something written about laughter and the benefit of laughter.
Hmm.
So both him and I really enjoy laughing together, and we thought, well, that could be a fun subject. And that was his beginning of working on this subject. And now I always fast forward to now he's 34 and mom is still working on the subject. So he dropped the subject after a little while for different
He moved
purpose, different
on.
reason. And while he was still working on that in high school, I was working at a National Art Gallery in Ottawa as a tour
Mm.
guide, and I have training in gerontology, so I work with seniors, and I really loved my
Mm.
job at the gallery. And one day I had a tour that canceled last minute. And I was told from the front desk that they had someone coming in to do laughter yoga in one of the room, but it was for management. I was not invited. But she said, you
Mm.
know what? There's going to be a lot of people. They will never notice if you go in and you're not invited. So I did.
A
I
laughter
did.
session.
I crashed a laughter session. And I remember coming out, and so does my family. I remember coming out and driving home that night thinking, one day I will be the one doing that workshop. And I literally fell in love with it because I know that, and you know this too, people that have become leaders or teachers, um, they often have a first experience that it felt weird and it felt strange, And
Mm.
for some reason, I just took to this like a duck to water. I just loved it. And so I never had that resistance at the beginning. And which years and years of practicing, because it's almost 18 years now, I have encountered more people that had that experience of resisting and feeling silly doing it. And but it so it
Yeah.
took me a while to just get to appreciate that how lucky I had been for that first one to be such an amazing experience. So from that point on, I don't want to say harassed, but almost the leader that had trained that did that session because I wanted to become a leader. And she was a teacher, she still is, but she had not trained anyone yet. The
When you say
laughter
leader, it
yoga,
was a lot.
yes. So she had not yet trained anyone. So she kept saying, well, not yet, not yet. And finally, one day, I got this message saying that she was ready to do a leader training and if I wanted to be part of it. And it was just, oh, yes, I'm going in there. And also, I kept saying that I loved my job at the gallery, but if I had the opportunity to see where, if I was to take a leave of absence and see how far I can go with laughter, I was that interested in it. And
Mm.
again, life had taught me that you have to be careful with what you wish for because eventually my position was eliminated. So it was just like, so maybe that's what I had been asking for. And so of course, the day that you're being laid off, that's not what you're thinking. But then I
No.
was already a leader. I was still working at the gallery, but starting to replace when she needed a lady that was training at laughter club. So I was still replacing. I was just starting to dabble in laughter. So when this happened, I took a deep breath and eventually realized that this is exactly what I wanted to do, and that I could
Mm.
possibly connect my knowledge of working with seniors with this new skill of laughter yoga. And that's how I got
Mm.
started. And I was very, I don't know if it was lucky or at the right place at the right time. But at that same time, I had a friend that was starting his journey with cancer, and
Oh.
he had read about the benefit of laughter, and he said, I would love to if you could accompany me on this journey with laughter. And
Oh, wow.
we did not live in the same province. And so the very first time I visited him with his family and we did a full on laughter session. And then after that, he challenged me to start on, it was Skype. He said,
Skype at the time. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Skype. So he said, if we could Skype every day that I have a treatment and just kind of help me with my, stress management. And of course, it's never,
Mm.
we're not doing laughter to cure anything, but we're just doing this to accompany in a journey that is very challenging. And
Mm.
so I started doing this with him. And I often say, like, I wish I could tell you that he's still here, but he's not. The testimonial that came from laughing with him regularly on his journey from his family saying that if it had not been for laughter, laughter yoga, we would not have laughed through his journey. Like the laughter
Oh.
would have gone silent. And so it was with laughter yoga that gave them permission to laugh with their father. He had grown up children, but to laugh with their father at things that you
Mm.
probably normally wouldn't laugh, but it gave them that permission. And I also love to say that one of his daughter is now, I trained her as a leader. And
Oh, that's amazing.
she is now in Mexico and she's promoting laughter yoga. And it's just like, it has been an interesting journey at the beginning. It still is. Every day is a different journey, it seems, with laughter
Mm.
yoga. Because you never know. There's so many people that need it. You never know
Yeah.
where it's going to take you. And I think that I had given myself permission that my laughter yoga business is
Yes.
it grows organically. So,
Mm.
I started with cancer patient and seniors, but it has touched many lives in different ways. And
Mm.
yeah, So it's still so that was the early on beginning of that laughter, the how I got into laughter yoga.
Mm. So many things struck me about your story as you're sharing it. And one of the first things is you just followed your heart, something that pulled your interest. Sometimes we don't get clear, like clouds parting all of a sudden, and we know what's next. But you went to this laughter event, and you kind of crashed it. You went into it after something got canceled, which your tour at work got canceled. So you took that opportunity, and then you kept following that, and then you got laid off, and then you thought, oh well, why not continue pursuing that? But you followed these clues of your heart, and I think that's really beautiful because it makes it so genuine. It was just purely like, oh, I love this, and you kept doing it, and
Yeah,
then the opportunity showed up. So
yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Thank
It
you.
gives all of us ideas and hopes of things don't we don't get the answer right away, but just follow your heart.
We sure do, and along the way with laughter yoga, I have added, I mean, more. I would say more meat on the subject too, where I talk about gratitude and the importance of gratitude, and I was surprised when you go and look at the different things that we can be grateful for, where
Mm.
you get to a point that you can be grateful for something that didn't seem to be a gift then, and then realize
Mm.
that you can. Because I remember for different reason, I was in the National Art Gallery after I'd been laid off, and still at some point resenting what had happened.
Mm.
And then I got to the point that I just wanted to go and thank whoever laid me off
Oh.
to put me on that path that I was supposed to be in the first place.
Oh. But you couldn't recognize that in the moment.
No.
Like in the moment when things happen, like getting laid off or not getting some approval for finances or some breakup or loss, in the moment, it's not exactly naturally we're going to feel grateful. But in retrospect, as you give it new meaning, there's such a different approach that you're
Yes.
sharing. Like, wait a minute, this actually helped you. That pain point at the time
Yeah.
ended up supporting a new path. But it was hard to see then, but there it is.
It is, and it's probably the last thing you want to hear when someone says, well, one door closes and another opens. But when you're
Right.
in that moment, but to get to that point and realize that, I've been doing work that I love every day because this happened. And
Yeah.
yeah,
What you're naming about in the moment, which reminds me of toxic positivity, where sometimes it's like, oh, everything is good, everything will happen, everything will work out. And sometimes it doesn't feel genuine. So what you're naming is something can go wrong. Let's feel the sadness, the upsetness,
hmm,
but you actually never know what it may lead to. And for you, it led you to something better.
it did. And actually, that's such a good point because I find that with laughter yoga, we often have to remind people that the idea of laughter yoga, which is laughing intentionally, is not
Mm.
laughing 24/7, is
Right.
being able to accept other emotions, but not getting stuck in that emotion and moving
Mm.
forward. I always say, like, one smile at a time. So if laughter is not available right now, maybe smiling is. But I think
Yes.
that we need to make sure that people do get that we're not just pushing laughter despite other emotions.
Right. Because then it becomes suppressing our emotions. And I think
Hmm.
what surprises people with laughter yoga is our emotions come up. I remember the first few sessions that I did back in 2007. I both loved it and like was scared and wanted to leave. And I was like, I don't know these people. What are people going to think of me? But I had deep connection to joy. And at times when I started, and still happens since then, finish a session and I'm like, why am I feeling sad? Like our emotions come up, and this is human, is we're letting space for emotions to come up.
Exactly. That's so true.
I just realized we haven't even defined laughter yoga for those who are not familiar with it. Can you share what exactly is laughter yoga for those who haven't heard it before?
Actually, well, we know, like we both know because we do training, like, you got the
Yes.
5 points and that's what it is. But to me, it's more and more now is learning to laugh intentionally. So, because we
Mm,
know that an intentional laughter or a spontaneous laughter produces the same amount of endorphins, the same amount of happy hormones in our system because our body does
mm,
not know the difference between the two. So that's just
mhm,
defining, it's defining, but it's also giving ourselves permission to laugh just to reap the benefits. So that's the first thing.
mm.
I also like to remind people or sometimes just to inform people that yoga does not mean posture. Yoga means connecting your body and mind through your breath. So it doesn't mean that we might not use that. I mean, I do use a yoga mat at the end for a beautiful relaxation, but it
Mhm,
does not like and then we're being playful. I just
mm,
love the image. I was listening to something yesterday, and someone was referring to the little Russian dolls that we had when we were kids, where we just
mhm.
like and so we're just going back to that little one, that little baby doll
Yeah.
that just that's our laughter. This is our inner laughter. More and more, I tell people that laughing is our birthright. So we can just go back to that, how that kid wanted to laugh, how that child wanted to laugh, and laughter yoga is a beautiful space for this. So, combination of
Mm,
laughter exercises, breathing exercises. Once you understand the whole concept, you realize that laughing is actually exhaling. So, we need to
mhm,
breathe in. So, we are creating that space. We are getting rid of the stale air. And then we need to
mm,
breathe in and bring fresh new oxygen to our system,
mm.
and then all of this will manufacture joy into like our inner joy also. So it's not I don't know, it needs to be experiment. But I think that just a reminder that when you think of yourself when you're laughing with friends, often after a good laugh, you do stop and breathe in, and often people will
Yes.
say, "Ah, that feels good." So
Yeah.
this is what we intentionally install in our daily routine, the laughter yoga.
Mm. It is so natural, really, this laughter. And kids, I mean, babies laugh. And babies laugh, and they don't have a construct of a joke or a
No,
construct of what just happened. They just laugh. They're just in pure joy. And
yeah,
somehow, as we grow up, it becomes serious. Like it's like we have to be serious. Serious is important. If you're serious, you're a very important person. And and life does get serious.
it
Like
does. Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that because we know from the history of laughter yoga that it started at some point with humor, and then they walked away from humor, and then became a breathing exercise. But I think that
mm,
every week I hear someone saying that they got hurt because someone said this and that, and then the response will be, well, they don't get my sense of humor. And it's just like humor is good. I'm not saying that it's
yeah,
not, and
yeah,
I'm not against it, but it can be hurtful. So
yes,
which now with laughing as a breathing exercise, we're not hurting anyone. We're just feeling good.
right, totally, totally.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Dr. Kataria, the founder of Laughter Yoga, who created it in the mid '90s. He shared that story that you're referring to. That he started as a joke. People met in a park in Mumbai,
Hmm.
and he started a joke club, and then people started getting offended, and he's like, wait a minute, there got to be another way of using laughter as the best medicine idea and creating a system where we laugh for no reason.
Hmm.
And that for me was really profound because we can connect regardless of culture, language, ethnicity. It doesn't matter. It's a human connection, and we're laughing together. So we're connecting, we're not laughing at anyone. And that's a really important point.
It is. It
This
is.
breaking barriers.
Yes. And since we've mentioned Dr. Kateria, more lately, actually, because, with everything that goes on in our world right now, often people will say, like, how and why should we still laugh now? And then
Mm,
I think that now more than ever, and Dr. Kateria's goal was to, having bring peace on earth with through laughter. So, and I always want make sure people understand that the connection between laughter and peace is that when you're able to laugh for no reason, for breathe as a breathing exercise, you become very comfortable with your own self. And when you're comfortable with your own self, well, you're comfortable with the neighbor, and so on and so on. So it's just like this is, I
mm,
mean, it's big dream, but it's attainable for at least we can't solve everything, but we can probably dissolve the stress around us. And if we all take care of our own
mm.
little neighborhood, then that neighborhood will connect to a better neighborhood.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. It really is a big vision that he has, but it's so tangible in terms of grassroots. If we each do our part in bringing
Hmm.
joy in our life, saying earlier, it doesn't mean joy in our life, we don't have any challenges, or we don't have any tragedies, or we don't have any stressors. It's actually while this is happening, it's like a little vitamin we can take that takes care of our emotion. This
It is.
laughing and breathing. It's so refreshing. These laughter sessions. Um, my father was going through an illness and then he passed away. And it was a really tough time, very tough time. And I was still teaching laughter. I mean, I still am now, but teaching laughter sessions then.
Hmm.
And it was really tough to walk in and like I was going through a lot of sadness. But those moments when I did teach in this deep period of grieving, it really recharged me, helped me connect with others. It was just like a little oxygen mask.
It
And
is.
then continue on the week, and then there was time for grieving and tears. And
It is, and actually, you and I share that same experience because I was leading groups when I lost my dad too,
mm,
and I remember thinking, well, do I go back to laughter yoga? Like, how do I go back to laughter yoga? And
mm,
then realize that not because this is your passion that you will never have hardship or anything. It's just like time to walk the talk. And then basically realize that the same thing, like, I'd go into a group feeling pretty sad, and
mm,
then knowing, I think that because we understand that laughing is not it's not a lack of respect for our loved ones that we've lost. It is a
mm.
way of caring for ourselves, and then coming out of that workshop or laughter exercise, realizing how we felt much better. We took
Yeah.
care of ourselves for a little bit, and I
Mm,
think that's I do point out often when I present that it doesn't mean because I'm promoting laughter yoga that everything is perfect every day in my life, but I've
right.
chosen to this is my way of taking care of myself and taking care of people around me.
Mm,
And
mm,
I think I might have shared this exercise with you where through a challenging time, I started thinking of laughter as a little bracket in my grief.
mm.
I can have that little bracket with a smile, and I can grow my smile, and I can go into a laughter. And it doesn't take away, as I said, any respect for what's going on. But I've installed that little moment, that little bracket in my day that I can laugh and feel good.
Mm. So those of you who are listening on the audio version only, using your hand, like creating a little space of a bracket, and this bracket with your, like, it's almost permission. It's okay to laugh. Like
It
when
is.
my sense of the describing is like it's okay. It's actually necessary how you're describing it. It was necessary for you. It was necessary for me to take that bracket. I love how you name it, a bracket of time to intentionally. And that's what I love how you're describing it. You're not leaving it to chance.
No. Yeah.
You're not like, if I feel like it or if the right things happen, you're like, it could be a what 2 minute bracket, a 5 minute bracket in the day.
Yeah.
Just right?
And I'm sure I'm not the only one, but there's been sessions or workshops that I could easily walk in saying that I don't know if you need to laugh, but I need to laugh.
Yes. Totally. And once we get going, it's so natural, right?
Yeah.
It's this childlike part in us celebrates like thank you for like finding that joy. I just remembered actually we did the training together with Dr. Kataria, and I can't remember 2010 or 11,
Yeah, I
whatever
think it
that
was, yeah,
was.
10.
10, yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
and it was a riot of a joy. I mean, talk about it was professional training, but we were just like kids. Like everyone was just like costumes for the evening and just like
Oh, it was, it was. But the amount of, I mean, I was actually, I don't know if someone over there had said that or if I was aware of it, but I remember coming back. Is it what they call almost like a whiplash? Because we just, after spending
yeah,
that amount of time laughing for just for our health, for no reason, for breathing, and then coming back to reality afterwards. I remember the landing.
yeah, like the rubber band effect, right? Like
Yes,
it
yes.
comes back down, but it never comes back truly to its original shape, that rubber band, because it's been stretched.
Yeah.
So I still feel the effects of like doing laughter yoga, doing the training,
Mhm.
and it's like something has shifted. I can more easily find my smile, more easily laugh, most importantly, at myself.
Yes.
Like that,
Yes.
that happens so often now. Like I would be, stuck on writing an email or be behind on something, a report, and I just like start laughing.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
like,
think that over time we have tamed our critical mind maybe, and that
mm.
we are able to shush that side and then go on to laughter.
So this the critical mind that we have is something that we're working with laughter. And so, what would you say to people who are wanting to try laughter yoga for the first time and like, you're like, oh, this is strange. What are we doing? Like, what are some things that you tell people when you're trying it first time?
Actually, it's funny because I used to avoid this because, as I told you, for me it was easy. I didn't have that critical mind, so I was informed by many people that how you resist, and I wanted to better understand why people were resisting. And so
Mm,
I had to well, I read on stress. I When I do present the conference, I talk about stress. I think about both side of our brain, and one being more in the moment or creation, and the other being very critical. And I just needed to understand that. So I usually make people aware that you might have that voice in your head that says, "This is silly. This is stupid. You don't have time for this." And it's
mm,
okay and it's normal to hear that voice. So maybe just to be able to ignore that voice, and I don't think that one session is enough. You need more than
mm,
once to really get into. It would be like me going to a Zumba class. Like, the first one I will probably always be off on the steps, and eventually will need to readjust. And so I think that in laughter yoga, you have to give yourself a fair chance of going, three times, four times, and then you get to a point that you don't hear this as much. Like, it's okay to laugh on spontaneously and not feel
yeah.
criticized.
So it takes practice,
It
like
does.
any yoga or any meditation or mindfulness practice. It's called practice because we work through what shows up.
Yes.
Not things are easy or simple, and some days it is very easy and simple. But it's the building the consistency, whether a couple of smiles a day, whether a laughter session a week, a month, or whatever it is. It's like, okay, a place to plug in that we
Yes.
can keep nurturing.
Yes, and I do make people aware that we're not adding one more thing to the list of things to do because we have so many things that we need to eat properly, exercise properly, sleep properly, and it's just, but you can do whatever you're doing and put a smile on it or put a laugh on it.
Mm,
So it doesn't, like, we're not adding anything. So it's just
mm,
to, do the dishes laughing or smiling if at the beginning. Walk in your from your bedroom to the kitchen in the morning with a little step in your feet and singing or dancing or smiling. It's just like you're just
mm,
adding something to bring
mm.
because well, we know that I mean, laughter will bring us to that joy, but singing, dancing, playing, because when you're
Yeah,
referring to kids, um, if we think like kids, we don't always need a formal laughter yoga session, but if we
mm,
have more occasions to play, laughter
yeah.
will be part of this.
This is one of the things I so enjoy about laughter yoga is it becomes a place to go and play, like how you're saying it.
It
And
is.
Dr. Katar, yeah, Dr. Kataria says, it's kindergarten for adults.
It
Right?
is.
Just show up, we give ourselves permission, and in a place of just laughing to reconnect with this inner joy that's available regardless of conditions.
Yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
think, well, I mean, we do recognize that it's not always easy. We do recognize
No.
that. Um, but when if we understand the process of chronic stress, we
Mm,
can deconstruct one smile at a time. Like, from the moment you're smiling, you're actually changing the chemistry. So I also often promote that, start by adding more smiles to your day. And then maybe a
mm,
little giggle the next day, or just so it's progressive, and
mm.
but being aware of it. And I think, and I actually, I know I have gotten to that level where you get to your day and saying, wow, it's 3 o'clock and I've been very serious today, I need a good laugh. So it needs
Yes.
to be part of our, it needs to be part of our daily routine at some point.
Yes. It becomes like that vitamin, right? Like, oh, I'm low on laughter. I gotta.
Yeah.
And it's free. It's available to us. It's within us. And maybe even whoever's listening today, if you're interested, maybe a smile even as you're hearing us have happened. And maybe later on, mm, grab a glass of water, or if you're going to the washroom and there's a mirror, maybe just looking at yourself, just a gentle smile, like a tiny little smile, and just see what happens. Like meeting ourselves in a new way with a smile. That could be interesting.
Yes. Because when,
Yeah.
sometimes if you look back and think, when was the last time you had a good laugh? Life is very serious right now.
I wonder if we can share with the listeners some laughter exercises that can be done as they hear us. I wonder if we can do a couple to give them a flavor. Those who haven't tried it and those who have will be a chance to reconnect with some laughter.
Sure can. So I'm thinking of, without, thinking of people that might not have their camera on. But if you go from the smile first and maybe just gently put your hand on your heart and connect with that inner child and give that inner child permission to laugh with a small, just a little nice little rhythm of ha ha, 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 and start connecting those ha ha with a ha ha ha, ah ha ha, ah ha ha, ah ha ha. So it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And it might be just enough to hear that little voice that says this is silly, but if you do, just shake that off too with a ha 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 on your shoulders. Ah, ha ha
Wow.
ha
Hand gesture on the shoulders. Yes.
ha. Ah, ah.
like we're dusting off things from the shoulder. Ha ha ha
Yes, yes. And actually sometimes I do recommend if you're watching the news, and it's okay to watch the news to stay informed, but don't watch it over and over because that gets stressful. But if you
Yeah.
were, you're watching the news and maybe after you just want to shake yourself off with ha ha ha. So you're just
Oh,
kind of
sticking the
just shake all these bad news off. Ah. Ah. And I'm thinking of other ones that are fairly easy when you first start is well, using a lotion. Like just pretend you've got your sunscreen or your after bath lotion and pretend that it brings laughter to you. So as you're
Oh, you're
spreading
putting it
that,
on your hand?
yeah, you've got a good cream in your hand and you're gently just
Yes.
spreading
You're
this
rubbing the head.
on both hands, rubbing your hands. It puts a smile on your face. And then imagine that you're just spreading that cream. And the more you've got cream on, the laughter will increase. So you're spreading this with
So
a ha ha
we're
ha.
doing imaginary cream on our hands and shoulders and face.
Ah, oh, ah. Oh, and we also have a beautiful, I mean, we call it a mantra, I call it a conditioner. If you think the same way as the Pavlov condition, where, the dog would hear the bell and then he would start
Yeah.
producing saliva to eat. Well, we do have our mantra in laughter yoga. And that is something that actually helps us get to that level that our body is now requesting laughter once we've
Mm.
practiced our mantra. So I could share the mantra with you
Yeah,
if you
sure.
have. I'm hoping like no one's driving and listening to this, but
Yes, yeah, don't if you're driving, don't let go of the wheel, please.
so you've got your hands together, and as you're going to be tapping your hands together, you're actually pressing on acupressure points, and that alone creates a beautiful well sensation. So you're just slowly, nice clapping, and we can start with just we'll go with the easy way and then we'll throw in the words. So we go 1 2 in front, 1 2 3 to the left, 1 2 1 2 3 to the right, 1 2 1 2 3 to the left. And then if we were to add the mantra, well, it's even easier. The words are ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho
Ho,
ha ha
ho,
ha,
ha, ha,
ho, ho,
ho,
ha, ha,
ho,
ha.
ha,
So we're
ha,
going
ha.
from the center to both sides with our ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And it doesn't really matter if what side you're on. It's just the idea is just to clap and repeating that ho, ho, ha, 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 and that is our mantra. And then you can
Mm,
use, actually we've got a second part to our mantra where we're just, once you have laughter yoga in your life, you're not waiting for anything funny to happen. You can choose to laugh.
mm.
So we celebrate that with our very good, yay,
Very
two
good.
thumbs up. And there's sometimes in your routine, your daily routine, that instead of getting mad and having a rush of stress hormones, you can start just saying ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho ha
Ho,
ha
ho, ha,
oh ho ha
ha,
ha ha.
ha.
It's a process, it's not overnight, but and sometimes you might catch yourself still getting angry at something, but you can turn it around and just go ho ho ha ha ha, and that's a good step. Ho ho ha ha
You
ha.
know, it's funny. It actually happened to us before we started recording. Is the recording platform kind of froze, and we started kind of using one of the laughter exercises, and we started laughing before we started recording. And maybe we can try this one. Is we're using our finger. You know, when you're upset with someone, and you kind of point your finger at them, say, "Oh no 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 no." So we were actually doing that before the recording, me and you. at the recording platform. So let's try that one. Let's kind of move our finger and
Oh.
oh no 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 no.
Ah. I love
Oh, that's
using this
very good.
one. I love using
Yeah.
this one in a group where sometimes you might have a couple that is attending the workshop because it just
Mm,
brings that complicity that this is something that you can carry outside of the workshop, hopefully, that,
yes. Yeah.
to take the drama out of everything.
That's right. Practical. Because that's the idea of it, to start spilling into life. Like any practice. We want the practice to spill into daily life. Yeah. And
Hmm.
can you share with us a breathing exercise?
Breathing exercise. Well,
Yes.
I have one that we just bring our arms to the ceiling or the sky. So you breathe in
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you tickle the clouds
Tickle the clouds. Okay.
and then exhale. Whew.
Ah,
So always keeping in mind that breathing or laughing is an exhaling exercise. So you want to
mm,
breathe in and breathing in through a yoga breath, a deep breathing.
mm,
So you're actually, if you were to put your hands on your belly and
mm,
inhale through your nose and gently feel your belly expanding and exhale through your mouth, your belly goes back to your spine.
mm,
And once again, breathe in and exhale. And pay attention how it really
mm,
calms down our nervous system when we do that. So, by our
mm,
combination of laughing, breathing, and connecting, which is kind of getting that stress down, those stress hormones down too. And
mm,
often to make people better understand the connection with our breathing and yoga breath and the fact that yoga does not mean posture. I do that,
mhm,
bring them to put their hands on their belly and inhale on the count of four.
mm.
And
So one hand on the belly.
so you've got hands on your belly, you're inhaling on a count of four. One,
Mm,
two, three, four. You're exhaling on six because we know we want to expel more air to get room for newer air. So, and then
mm.
the kind of that proof of yoga breathing, inhale on four and exhale with ha 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 ha. And you'll notice that exhaling on six sometimes is challenging, but when you exhale
Mm,
laughing, you go much further than six. So you're expelling that old air. And
yeah.
so, and I think people get that connection of this is what yoga breathing is, making room for new air, new oxygen.
Mm. It really is so calming and grounding. Like my whole body feels more relaxed. I feel at ease. I feel even more present. It's
Hmm.
just a few moments of just laughing and connecting and breathing. Really enjoyable. So thank you for sharing those exercises.
Ah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And I also like people to think. I know you do mindfulness meditation, and Dr. Kater has categorized our laughter as a dynamic meditation when you're laughing. So you're
Mm,
just we are in the present because you can't think of anything else when you're laughing.
yeah.
So
Yes, that's right.
uh,
Laugh in the present moment.
yes,
Yeah.
because to me that
Mm,
has been many people come to laughter yoga from the yoga path. I came through because
mm,
I do practice traditional yoga, but I came through the laughter door,
mm,
and I love to make the connections between the two of them too.
mm.
So because laughter yoga is maybe it's the rambunctious child in laugh in yoga, but it has its place.
it has its place. But it really draws us in. Like when you hear somebody laughing, you're like, oh, what's going on there?
Yeah,
And
it's
and,
true.
and funny enough, that's how I actually heard about laughter yoga. Was at the end of a meditation retreat, and this is when you can talk again. And someone was laughing, and really deeply, and we started talking. And he said, "I do laughter yoga. Come check out laughter yoga." I was like, "What is that?" That's 2006, or like I didn't try it right away. I was like, "Ah, okay, that sounds interesting." But it drew me in. It really, like a part of me knew I want more of that.
Yes.
Like I want to reconnect to that part that I know is in me. I love laughing. I love life, but I've been so burdened by so
Yeah.
many challenges in life, and I think that's what drew me in when I first heard that. And just like you shared, like when you hear laughter, it
Yeah.
really connects, pulls us in.
It does. And I think that's where we're at now. I mean, of course, more and more people are finding out about laughter yoga, but there's so much
Mm,
anger in the world now that, if we can give that outlet to release that anger and that sadness and bring more laughter. It was needed before pandemic. It's needed more than ever now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then laughter can really help us heal in many
Yes.
ways,
Yes.
heal and work with whatever is here.
It is.
Uh,
I know that throughout, well, my practice, as I said, is almost 18 years. Um, I wanted to bring it to as many people as I as possible. Different clientele, as I said, I work with cancer patients. I also work with people with cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's or others, and I've also been able to present it to medical faculty, which for me it's a big step when the medical
mm,
world starts talking about laughter. I think that's a big step and because, of course, when we're promoting laughter yoga, we're not curing, we're just supporting and accompanying people. And I think that if we want more and more working towards um, a, not a complement, but integrative medicine, that
yes.
we can bring laughter in that spotlight.
Hmm. Yeah, and the research is quite interesting in terms of laughter in so many different areas,
Hmm.
including heart attack recovery. I know some of the research in the Loma Linda University, and so it's kind of interesting. There is quite a bit of research on the health benefits, on different aspects, how we can recover better, less inflammation, not just physical but mental health as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, well, for anything that's, I call it integrative, the more the science people know about it, the more we can work together. Like it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, stress management for any chronic illness is a much needed. Laughter is much
Mm.
needed.
You remind me of one of the earlier books. I think Dr. Kataria speaks about the anatomy of an illness,
Yes, Norman
right?
Cousin. Yes,
Right, and using laughter and things that can really support in healing. And he
exactly.
experimented, and that's really big. That was a big influence on Dr. Kataria
It
in
was.
creating laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I've also enjoyed reading on Annette Goodhart. I don't know if you've
Mm,
because often, when I mean, of course, when we explain laughter yoga, people get what it is, and but they've often suggest that we just call it laughter therapy. I'm not a therapist, so laughter has therapeutic effect, but Annette Goodhart was a therapist and she used laughter in her practice. So when
mm,
there's many people that have contributed to where laughter yoga is now, and it's always interesting, Patch Adams or others that have brought some interesting research or
mm,
opinions on laughter. And I think that it's
mhm.
still ongoing.
Yeah.
I do have a short video that I often share when I present on laughter for people on dialysis. and laughter yoga for
Mm,
people on dialysis. So it's I think laughter is slowly taking, actually slowly fast taking
yes.
its place that it deserves in our life.
And you so beautifully infused this day with laughter and
Thank you.
infused this, yeah, this conversation with laughter. And if those of you who are just listening to the audio instead of YouTube, we've been smiling a lot. Like I couldn't help, even as just talking about this subject, bringing joy. So really want to thank you for taking the time and connecting, and really want to thank you for the work that you've been doing, following your heart, because as you have followed your heart, you brought so much sunshine to so many people. And I'm wondering, how can people find out about you? Like if they want to reach you, and I'll put it in the show notes or your website. What's the best way for people to
From
learn
my
about what
website, yeah, website. You have it, or you want me to?
I
Um,
can, yeah, I'll put it in the show notes, but I wonder if you can save a website just for those who are curious, and then I'll put it in the
okay,
show notes.
so it's laughterinstitute.ca. So of course the www, but laughterinstitute.ca, and
Excellent.
through there you'll have my email. You can contact me, and yeah, so see how we can spread more laughter.
Yes, and as Dr. Katara says, let's infect the world with this virus of joy,
Yes,
right? Let's
yes.
let's bring more of that. to the world.
Well, thank you, Kasim, for making room for laughter. Thanking for to put light on what laughter yoga has to offer, and yeah, it was a privilege to have a chance to share my passion with you.
Thank you so much. It truly was a joy to share this with you and connect and to keep reconnecting. Our paths continue to cross, and I look forward to laughing with you again.
Same here.
Thank you.
So should we exit with a 1 minute laughter? Do we have 1 minute laughter? Ha ha
Oh,
ha.
let's do that. Let's do that. Beautiful. So we're gonna bring this to a close with a 1 minute laughter. How beautiful is that? Let's
Hey,
do it.
three,
Oh,
two,
and you have
one.
that. You have a
I have
little
my
timer,
hourglass, and
hourglass timer.
I often remind people that 1 minute is a long time, so you can smile for a whole minute. You can go back and forth from laughing to smiling, but and no effort, just ha ha ha. Three, two, one.
Yeah.
Ah,
Ha ha. He, he, he.
ah, 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 ooh, ah. 1 minute is a long time. Ah, 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 here we go.
Well done.
Don't forget to catch your breath.
Yes, invited gentle deepening
Mm.
of a breath, gentle exhale, offering yourself any other movement or breathing you need. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
sharing
Kazim.
this. May
Thank you.
this laughter spill into the day and to the weeks and to the years. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.